I am ready.
Let's do it. I didn't know if I...
Miracles of science and engineering.
It's so cute. I can't remember. I'm sure I'm getting into the place where I'm re-wearing stuff because I do not have an endless wardrobe, contrary to popular belief. All right. All right. Hi, welcome to the All Gold Everything podcast, a podcast for people who are handling it. I am one of your co-hosts, Heidi B.
I'm Sandy Hammer.
And we are live streaming on YouTube today. Hey.
Oh, we're live.
We are live on YouTube. We had been live streaming to Twitch. We made a few adjustments, and we are now live streaming on YouTube, so we're stoked about that. So welcome to the All Gold Everything experience, fellow YouTubers.
Hello. Welcome to the All Gold Everything podcast.
A podcast
for people
who are handling it.
This
week.
Right now. This is how we handle it.
Speaking of handling it, Sandy and I had to handle some shit this week.
This week was just all about handling shit.
Why don't you start?
Well, that's just how life is sometimes. You know, sometimes life is all like hair and makeup and showing up to podcast.
I love that.
And getting free clothes. But sometimes life is actually about handling it. So we were handling it. So for me, I was handling a sick puppy.
Yeah, and a twist, in a very, I think it's kind of almost ironic and a bizarre twist of fate. 2 weeks ago, we recorded an episode where we were talking about your puppy, Weebay, and how somebody had slid into his DMs. And it was like the future was bright for Weebay. It was very exciting.
Yes,
he's going to go on a date with another hashtag burger in the city.
Yes, with another burger.
And then he got sick. So we took last week off. We were on hiatus because he was really, really sick.
Yeah.
Not had the sniffles.
No, he was in the hospital for 3 days in the ICU. He required oxygen.
Can I just say, I might be in the wrong business because I feel like hospital ICU for animals is like money. Just like those people just met. I mean, I know that vets and vet technicians and stuff aren't necessarily rolling in it, but I feel like the institutions that provide ICU care for animals are just rolling in it.
You are correct, my friend. And gone are the days when, I did have one coworker who, he didn't say it outright, but he kind of suggested well, why don't you just take him out back and shoot him? But gone are those days, right? Our culture no longer supports that. No. We do everything for our animals.
Oh, I know.
Now, there is a line, obviously, but, he had a reversible disease.
Yeah.
And he reversed.
Thank God. Thank you to your care.
Right. Well, thank you to people at Dove Lewis in Portland. Everybody in Portland knows about Dove Lewis.
Dove Lewis Animal Hospital.
So aside from the cost, which it was very expensive, but it was also reasonable. And they're also really good about updating you on your options and the cost. Unfortunately, by the time we got to Dove, there were no options. It was like we had a doctor, Dr. Aminga, who was like, you have to do this.
Oh, okay.
And it was very clear that it was this is what you're going to do or he's going to die. And so there was no saying no.
Right.
And they have ways of extending your credit beyond what you could possibly believe if needed. So no worries.
So magical financing.
Right.
Creative
you
financing.
will owe Dove Lewis for the rest of your life if you do not have your own means to pay these bills.
So can I ask you, we texted about Weebay's condition, but it ended up being not a poisoning.
We don't know.
To
this
still
day,
don't know.
we don't know.
Mysterious. Get your magnifying glasses out.
So for a minute we thought we knew an explanation for why he got so sick, but that test came back negative. We thought that maybe it was adrenal shock because he had an underlying Addison's disease, but in fact that was not the case. So really he just got critically ill with pneumonia and sepsis and maybe a terrible gastroenteritis. And we don't know from what.
Yeah.
We don't know. There's a possibility it was poisoning, but we don't really have any evidence to support that.
And your backyard is just bark. It's not like
So I did take him
plants or anything.
I did take him to a dog park the day before he got sick. He also was at somebody else's house the day before we got sick. So there's possibilities. However, we never saw him chewing or eating on anything. So no evidence to support that, only that is a possibility because he just got so sick.
So let me ask, you were luckily enough, you were off work this weekend. So you also got to spend some time nursing him back to health, and he's rebounding. He's he's a cutie little Muppet. And I have to show our viewers this.
Yeah.
I do love Weebay, and so I feel like he'd be so cute because he's a little burger Picard. I feel like he'd be really cute in a little dog bow tie. So
Thank
I got
you,
Sandy a
Heidi.
little dog bow tie to make him feel better because nothing makes you feel better when you're sick than wearing a bow tie.
Yeah, dressing up and looking fancy.
There you go. There it is.
I mean, he's gonna love it. Thank you. And
That's
she also very thoughtfully. This is such a sweet friend.
I know, but well, here's the thing. Your dog will cuddle up and mush up with stuffies. My dog will just eviscerate them. So
Oh, yeah.
I love the idea of buying a little stuffy for your dog that's going to last for a while.
It'll last the rest of his life. I told Heidi we still have the stuffy that we bought him the first day that we picked him up.
And he gently places it in his little stuffy toy box and he gently removes it. It's too cute. It's too much. I'm very, very glad that he is feeling better. I had my own thing come up, which I was going to talk about, but then something better came up for me to talk about.
Oh.
Okay. So, our viewers may or may not, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but we have a relationship with a company here in Portland called Ship-A-Dick.
We do. Oh,
We do.
Do I not even know about this?
Yeah, this is new. This happened this morning. So I was thinking last week, my birthday was July 22nd. That's like 2 weeks ago. Last week, 2 weeks, I don't know. Last Monday, I think. And I was thinking, God, I wish I would have gotten myself something from Ship-A-Dick for my birthday, or like I wish that they would have sent me something or whatever. And I wish they could just read my mind. We have a relationship with them, but it's not that close of a relationship. Anyway, I got an email from them this morning, which they sent out to all of anyone who's ordered anything from them ever has got an email from them this morning. So apparently they have a bunch of product that had been sent out to people. I should tell our listeners and viewers this. Ship-A-Dick.com will anonymously send a 10-foot cardboard cutout of a dick to anyone you want to send it to.
Well, really, whatever kind of dick you choose.
That's
right?
true. So their mainstay product is a 10-foot cardboard cutout dick, but now they have all kinds of stuff.
They have all kinds of dicks.
Dick pint glasses, wind-up dicks. The wind-up dick is definitely our favorite.
It is.
Absolutely. They have like pride dicks. They have like Trump dicks. If you want like they have like for all the holidays, they have a holiday dick. They have a Santa dick, a Hanukkah dick.
They have dick flip-flops.
Dick flip-flops. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay. So anyway, what
Penis
you do is
flip-flops.
obviously you can purchase any of this dick accoutrement for yourself.
Accoutrement.
You just want to be dripping in dick.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Or you can anonymously send it to people at your work or whatever. And
Which makes it way more fun.
super fun.
Because if you're ordering a bunch of dick swag for yourself, I'm going to wonder what that's about.
But send it to people you work with, and now it's a whole new ballgame, especially because it comes in a cardboard box with a bright orange sticker on it that says fondle with care. I love it. So,
Yeah.
And no one knows that you sent it to them unless you're so excited about it that you tell them that it came from you, which I have been known to do before. So anyway. Anyone who's ever ordered anything from this company got an email this morning saying that they have over 1,000 random mystery dick products that they have sent out to people on order for like an anonymous send that never made it to their final destination because it was like return to sender, not at this address, blah, 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 whatever.
I bet a lot of people get that box and are like, return to sender. No, thank you.
Not today.
No.
So
I'm not going to fondle this with care. You can just have this back, Mr. Post person.
Thank you very much. So they're giving away all of this stuff that has returned, and you just have to pay $5 to have it shipped to you. So I signed up today to have them send me some kind of mystery dick item.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I'm very excited about it. I did have to pay $5.19 for shipping, so it's not exactly free. I know that if I say that's free, then the fact checker Fred Bushy, my brother, will say that's not free.
Yeah, but
okay.
it's fair.
But it's fair. It's a good price for whatever kind of random dick thing I might receive.
Right.
So obviously next time we do the show, I will bring on whatever it is that I
hope you
acquire
receive
from
a
them.
plethora of dick accoutrement.
I hope so too. I hope they send a box with a bunch of stuff in it. That's
Yeah.
really. So I just want to put this up. I'm going to put this card up for our listeners, our viewers. If you are interested in sending some anonymous dick stuff to someone you like or don't like, then you definitely want to put in our promo code, which is all gold pod, and you'll receive a 15% discount.
Yes.
I mean, one of the best deals out there.
It's really fun to send anonymous dicks to people.
Have to say.
It is. Just try it.
Just
try it.
You'll love it. I challenge you to try sending it to someone without telling them that it's coming because it's like so exciting.
I feel like you must. I think the whole point is to not tell them it's you. Just send it anonymously and sit back and watch the magic happen.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to move into some stuff, some pop culture stuff. Last night, we don't do... Oh, I like that jingle. You know what? On the way over here, okay, first of all, before we move into pop culture, we've been doing a weekly playlist all summer long that coincides with like the topic of our show. And on the way over here today, I was listening to the playlist we made for the breakup week, which was last week.
That was good.
It was good. And I had Whitney Houston, I Have Nothing was blaring out, I have nothing. And
Is this when you got sideswiped?
No, it was not when I got sideswiped. But I was jamming and I was breaking necks. I had the windows down. I was belting out Whitney Houston, If I Don't Have You. But I was thinking about it because we were talking about copyright infringement. So hopefully now that we're YouTube live streaming, that won't be a problem.
Well, we think that's a really good song.
We do.
Our official review is 5 gold hoops.
100 out of 100 would listen again. Is this little stuffy animal giving his review as well? I like
Sorry.
It's adorable. Okay, so we don't talk politics often on this show. It's not really a part of our thing.
Because I get so angry.
Well, and I mean, it's supposed to be kind of a break from the
darkness.
The darkness.
Of it all.
Yeah. Okay, but I want to know your thoughts on this. You and I have both read. You and I have both read Marianne Williamson's Return to Love.
Yes, I didn't realize you had, but great.
I read part of it. Okay. Damn it. I never read the full book of anything. I always only read part of it. Okay.
It's a really good book.
It is a really good book. I read part of it last year. I pulled a couple quotes up, put it on my Instagram. You know, I did what we do with stuff like that. Okay, well, you read it and internalized it. I used it as a marketing tool. So anyway, I know a little bit about Marianne Williamson. You know a lot about Marianne Williamson. She's running for president is one of the things that's happening. Have you? And the world is like falling in love with her.
Because her message is like very authentic and on track for what we need as a human race.
Yeah, it's real. I just wondered, have you watched any of her?
I haven't, unfortunately, because I read Return to Love and I really liked it. So much so that I wanted to do the Course in Miracles and I bought the books and I realized this is incredibly difficult.
It's too hard.
And really the only way to go through it is to join a community, but I'm done with communities for a while. And the last thing I want to do is to get into another spiritual self-help fucking community. So I just set that aside.
Yeah.
However, I also follow a fellow named Tommy Rosen, who I'm a big fan of, and his deal is Recovery 2.0. He's recovered through a 12-step program. However, in the spirit of adding on to that kind of baseline recovery,
enlarging it.
He has a big following around spiritual growth and yoga.
Oh, cool.
And I freaking love it. Anyway, he interviewed Marianne Williamson. And I didn't really care for the interview. So I was a little disappointed. However, having said that, I totally support the idea of the image and the symbolism of her running for president.
Yeah.
It is incredibly a remarkable counterbalance to what we currently have going on now. And it is a perspective that is so needed. And the more people that hear it and the more people that relate, because as humans, we can't not relate to her platform. I guess you're saying it because it's political. You can't not relate. And so the more people that relate, God bless America, the better. So I do think it is an actual wonderful thing to get out there.
Yeah, she is winning over hearts and minds. I don't know that anyone really thinks that she will be elected, like that her electability is very low, but a lot of pundits are saying like it's important that she's bringing this dialogue and bringing this conversation. And not only do we think it's important as pundits, but also like it's resonating deeply with American people. So
yeah, I think that it's what the people need to hear right now. And I just really hope that ears are open and listen, because it is so instinctual what she has to say. It is so intuitive, and it is such could kind of get back to ourselves and outside of all this darkness and all this ego and all this shadow. You know what I mean? So go Marianne Williamson.
Go
Thank
MW.
you.
I just want to be like M-dub. Yeah, I'm dub. Okay, so this is probably on the opposite side of the spectrum for Marianne Williamson. The Bachelorette finished up this week. We don't watch The Bachelorette, but we do like to weigh in on it.
We do.
Occasionally, because the concept is just so disgusting.
As you're willing to admit that you read portions of books and put it on your Instagram, I'm willing to admit that I don't watch Bachelor, but I've got strong opinions I'm not afraid to share.
That's right. Exactly. So we knew we were coming down the I want to say down the pipe, but that sounds sexual for some reason. But we knew we were coming to the end.
We're laying the pipe.
We're laying the pipe. Hannah's getting the pipe laid around her.
Hannah's had the pipe laid.
She's laying the pipe.
Fantasy suite.
In the fantasy suite.
A windmill.
And the windmill. She's doing it all. But that guy who slut shamed her, he was long gone. But then he did come back.
Of course he did.
Of course.
Makes good TV.
But then he was gone again. Okay, so in the final episode of The Bachelorette Hannah got engaged.
No way.
We did not see that coming. She got engaged.
Did she propose?
I don't know because I didn't watch it, so I have no idea. But I think she accepted a proposal. I would imagine that because of the fairy tale nature of The Bachelorette, they narrow it down to these two guys. Each of them decide if they're going to propose, and then one, two, or none of them propose to her, would be my guess.
Oh.
She ended up getting engaged to a guy named Jed, J-E-D. And
I don't think I can marry a guy named Jed.
I'm just wondering, remember the episode we did with the drummer? Was that drummer's name Jed? Oh, it was Ted. Todd with 2 Ds. Todd with 1 D.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? It would be so dope if it was Jed with 2 Ds. Jed.
Well,
I'm going to name...
Oh my God.
Meet Jed.
Jed. Lots of Ds. Can you put 3 or 4 Ds on the end of it, please?
Jed. Okay. So she's engaged to Jed.
She got engaged to
That
Jed.
is unfortunate.
But then...
Uh-oh.
The whole thing fell apart before the show even ended when she found out that Jed had arrived to The Bachelorette with a girlfriend back at home. Something...
The most shocking episode of The Bachelorette thus far.
That the viewers already knew. So apparently he had done some kind of interview or whatever where he had acknowledged that he already had a girlfriend. So everyone watching the show knows Jed's a fuckboy. He already has a girlfriend at home. What the fuck is he doing on The Bachelorette? Hannah on The Bachelorette is kept in the dark about the whole thing. She's falling in love. Falling in love. These orange nails make this very good. I'll be doing this as long as I have orange nails. Falling in love. I kind of want this to become like a show Muppet. Jed
This may not go home to Weebay.
And maybe Jed will get his own camera.
Jed is going to have to lose his little backboard.
He will. Oh my God. So Hannah is falling in love with Jed, and she's in the dark about the fact that he has a boyfriend at home.
Okay.
Girlfriend, excuse me, a girlfriend at home. So anyway, she found out, and
whatever. Love is love.
Love is love. Love whoever you want. And the whole shebang fell apart at the end of the day. So she's not getting married to Jed. I just feel like this was a real train wreck. It's good TV. But I feel kind of bad for Hannah because she was kind of subjected to some real bullshit this season.
Well, that's what she signed up for.
It is what she signed up for, though. And I bet, you know what? She probably has more than 1 million followers on Instagram right now.
She probably does. And she's probably selling that flat tummy tea.
Hell yeah. So at least, here's the thing. I just feel like, I hope she gets some money. I hope she makes some, if the point to go on The Bachelorette really is not to find love, but to create your platform, become your brand, then get it, girl.
That's proven by this fellow who went on with a girlfriend back home. It's
exactly.
They both knew that he was doing it to be to get exposure and to get an Instagram following and maybe to be the next Bachelor.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And if she fell in love, really, this is one of my things I have about The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I don't understand how you could truly fall in love under those circumstances.
No way.
And even if she is under the impression she's in love, she's going to look back on it and be like, oh, hell, that's not love. And I hope that one day Hannah really does fall in love so that she can have that kind of perspective. Wow, that wasn't love. That was I was out of my damn mind.
Yeah. Well, it really speaks to there's a part of my book where I talk about unavailability, and it's really fun to have this fantasy. I think of it in terms of when you date someone long distance and you fly in and fly out of their lives once every couple months. And of course you fly in, you go to New York, you eat all the food, you do all the things, whatever. And then you fly home. You don't have to fucking do the daily, oh shit, so who's going to walk the dogs?
Who left all the dishes in the sink?
Yeah, fuck. Somebody has to clean before the housekeeper comes over, or whatever, right?
Yes.
Just kind of the mundane bullshit that is that unfortunately.
What do you mean you're too full to have sex?
Yeah. That either fortunately or I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately does test some of the tolerance that we have for one another, doing this I gotta go get 5 avocados and 3 bowls in 3 boxes of cereal, grocery shopping.
Well, it takes the fantasy out of it.
Yeah, it certainly does. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about something I did not know was happening. There are some big class action lawsuits that came to fruition this week. So apparently Equifax owes almost everyone $125. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
So you can go to their website and check out to see if your data was breached. It was a year ago that they had this huge data breach, right?
That. Mm-hmm.
And then they were trying to sell everyone their service to monitor everyone's credit,
right?
In light of them having fucked up everyone's the accessibility of everyone's credit. So I don't know how the class action lawsuit got settled this quick, but Equifax owes almost everyone $125. So you should go and check it out. Maybe I'll put it on our website, the website that you go to check out Equifax's money. But they don't owe it to me. I was not included in the original data breach.
I was.
Which, how do you know?
Because they notified me, and I signed up for. You had to sign up for something, and they did. You signed up for something, and they did something, but then there was also that whole thing you could subscribe to for like extra monitoring or whatever.
Extra monitor.
And I think that Joey may have done that, and I didn't. I don't
Jeff
recall.
Locked his credit. He was affected
That's
as
what
well,
it
so he
was.
locked his credit.
That's what it was. We both locked our credit,
which has been kind of inconvenient, but like not really a big deal. You could unlock it. Yeah. So anyway, you and Joey should go claim your $125. Then you can put that toward your WeBay vet bill.
But I got a check in the mail yesterday.
You did?
I did.
From Equifax?
No.
From AMPM?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Yes.
Yay! So
and we're getting another one.
We are.
Yes.
So we're rich.
We're rich.
It was a $91.98 check.
Yes.
And I was not aware that I was part of the AMPM class action lawsuit.
Me neither.
But apparently 5 years ago or something in Oregon, you went to an AMPM and you paid for gas. And at the pump, it said that was one price. And when you went inside to actually pay them with your card, because AMPM does not do at pump processing, they charged you more.
Right.
And like, who would know? I mean, I was not paying. I had no idea.
Right.
So I was like, I'll take that check to the bank. Thank you very much.
Well, here's
I can't
why.
wait for my
this
second
is why
one.
it's like so unfair. There's probably people who like fill up at AMPM like every fill up. Mm-hmm. I may have filled up at AMPM like once.
I know.
I never go to AMPM. And I got the same check as the poor schlubs that fill up every day.
I'm with you.
I mean, I guess there's no like, there's not a better way to do it, but it's like, oh, it's not fair.
Yeah. Oh, that's very honest of you around the fairness of that. I was like, I got a check. Yeah. Took a picture of it. Mobile deposit. Check, check, check.
I haven't done it yet. Joey's like, don't forget to deposit it.
That's
right.
right.
That's what he thinks of me, that I'm going to forget to deposit a $90
Well,
check.
between your $200 from AMPM and your $250 between you and Joey from Equifax,
we're rich.
We're rich. This abundance shit's working.
Well, we're just going to have to apply it to our Dove Lewis bill.
There you go. Next month's payment.
Next month's payment will be our dividends from our class action lawsuits.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, and something that I never thought I would say. Have you heard about the interaction going on between A$AP Rocky, Kanye West, and Donald Trump?
I have, unfortunately.
So whoever thought we would be in the day and age
where we are,
where A$AP Rocky would be in a fight, would be charged with assault in Sweden. Then Kanye West would call Donald Trump on the phone and say, my pal A$AP Rocky needs some help. Then Donald Trump would call Sweden and say, you got to let him go. And then Sweden would say, fuck off. He's being...
Yes, Sweden!
We have a due process here, and we have due process, and he's being, tried, all the laws are being followed. And then Donald Trump sent over a hostage negotiation team last week, which A$AP Rocky is not a hostage. He's being tried in criminal court in Sweden. So anyway, the hostage negotiators are like, well, we're just going to stay here until we can secure his release, implying that, using language that compares him like to a hostage. But anyway, so I never thought 24 months ago, I never would have thought of using any of those words in the same sentence. Frankly, that's where I'm at on that.
It's appalling.
It is appalling. And in other Kim and Kanye news,
but I heard he has to sleep on a yoga mat.
Oh yeah,
that must be really tough for A$AP Rocky.
I don't think it would be comfortable, but it probably is better jail conditions than some places.
Yoga mat. Apparently, in U.S. jails, you have a hard metal bed.
That's true.
With a mattress that's like this.
Yeah.
And you get those cool house shoes.
Oh, right. You do get house shoes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But not over there.
Not over there.
Very well. The Swedish are minimalists.
Right.
We just picked up the art of Swedish death cleaning.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've not heard of that.
Oh, it's like a little book. It's basically just about being minimalist. But I have to tell you, we were at the bookstore yesterday and we're like looking at the section for like minimalism, or we're looking for this art of Swedish death cleaning book. And there were like hundreds of books on minimalist and like cleaning and tidying.
Minimalist is like legit. You've tried this before.
I know.
This is your second kind of like venture into it.
Yeah. But it's not for me. Jeff really wants to do it. I mean,
but you guys share the same home.
We do. So, I mean, I don't know how much of my stuff I'll be getting rid of. He's like, I'm going to get rid of a lot of my stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You do that. my stuff will be tidy and put away, but I'm not ready to part with any more of it at the moment. I don't think
It's pretty hardcore.
it is. So anyway, in an ironic twist, I was like looking at this wall of all these books about minimalism.
It kind of follows on the whole sober, like straight edge kind of thing. It's like, what else can I give up?
Yeah. What else?
Like, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't use drugs. What? I have to get rid of all my stuff.
Yeah, I'm not addicted to relationships anymore.
Or
I'm not
food.
toxic.
I eat healthy.
I have to get rid of my stuff. Yeah, that you're right. That's like a natural progression, actually, really for us. So, but I was like, let's just get all the books on minimalism, and then I was like, oh, that's very definitely not a minimalist approach to minimalism. A maximalist approach to minimalism. Okay, so and I have one other piece of Kanye and Kim news that we have to talk about.
This one.
This I do have a photo for. This is kind of, you and I are calling it. We called it months ago that we think they are establishing either a cult or a megachurch. Both. I mean, it's the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Now, the evidence that we have based on their home remodel, based on a, what is the gossip site? Daily Mail article about Kris Jenner and Kanye starting to form a nonprofit for the church. Now, in this picture that's coming up, it's not that one, Mark. It is like these little beehive huts. There's Hannah. Oh, there it is. Beehive huts. Okay, so they are Star Wars-like domes. Who's reporting this? This was Daily Mail. Star Wars-like domes that are sitting on their Hidden Hills property that are 50 feet high or 500? I think that's 500 feet high. And they house like
50.
Oh, 50? That doesn't seem...
500 is excessive.
I know, but 50 doesn't seem tall enough.
Think about your ceiling is like an 8 or 9 foot ceiling at your home.
Oh, okay. That's tall enough then, yeah.
So 50 is like...
It's pretty tall.
Yeah.
5 times the size of your...
5. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, these reportedly will house 300 people, and Kanye thinks that they will be the beginning of the end of like classism and the deletion of class structure in the United States. So
how many people did you say they house?
300.
Okay. I believe deeply in this concept as what is going to save our whole species, the human race.
The hive house?
I think that communities, so back in early times when we lived in communities of like 100 people and everybody was kind of interdependent on everybody else for foods, services, and, and community support. And I think that now the way that everything has grown and the way we live, we are just kind of like these humans in captivity. Yeah. And I feel like everything that we lost in our smaller communities is what contributes to our mental illness and to all this stuff.
So the interconnectedness is the critical piece, that we live together,
and the isolation and the whole because like I was talking about today, when you have a community of 100, 300 people, the only person, like there might be like one like bombshell, right? And you're like, wow, she's gorgeous. But you're not comparing yourself to Claudia Schiffer and I have to be as rich as this person. I have to be as gorgeous as that person. I have to be, it's like, no, she's a bombshell. That's who she is in the community. He's really, really smart. He's the one that's taking care of all of our money. She's really, really this. And all of these different skills and talents we have are useful as far, instead of like us trying to chase down and one up and all this the next person. Yeah. It's like we're really just kind of dependent on all of each other's skills and talents, and it kind of takes away a lot of that whole like jealousy and comparison. I'm sure it doesn't completely, but that's just one piece of it. Like the other piece of it is just like from like a mental health standpoint. Yeah, that communities are better, more supportive for us when we're in more deeply entwined communities. And then one more thing, it's better for the environment, because if they're self-sustaining communities, then we don't need this mass agriculture, mass production. We're making our own blankets, we're making our own stuff, or we're making it and selling it to the dome across the way type of a thing. And so everything, and like it's kind of actually reminds me of the episode that we did on where we answered the question about the future of food and refrigerators, where it's like moving in the direction of everything being plant-based, and this is kind of in that same vein. I like architecturally, I think these look really cool. I mean, this is like very compared to what you just said. What I have to say about this is really not that important, but I think these look cool. And it's reminding me of like, in Japan they have like these tall hotels where like you can rent a pod and sleep in it, and like I think that might be kind of cool. It is kind of, it seems so claustrophobic. It
is in line with like the minimalist idea, you know, like, okay, I just like sleep in this little pod, you know, whatever. But I'm imagining like this would just be like shelves, you know, everyone's got like a little pod in there. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it definitely, on the flip side, it can be very cultish, but it's like, it's nice. At least they could have a lot of people come stay on their Hidden Hills property.
Yeah.
So, you know, down the road here is the big Apostolic Church.
Yes.
And they have something very similar back on their property. Like they could probably house a good 1,000
That's right.
people
I've
back
seen
there.
that church,
Yeah.
but they also have it like very well fenced off. Like you can't really see it.
Yeah, but there's like a ton of housing, and I think it's like really similar. And they, because I think part of their faith is like people can come and stay as long as they want to, or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if I'm a apostolic person from Sweden and I want to come to the church in Portland, I can just show up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then they have housing for me.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was like some end of days related thing as well, but
it might be, but
maybe.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
They don't let me in on those secrets.
Oh, just a neighbor.
Yeah, just a neighbor.
Okay, now I know why I was thinking about not Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston. We're making a major shift to the very last story, which is about Lil Nas X, which I do think I have a picture of him too. There he is, Lil Nas X. You know Lil Nas X from this song, I'm gonna take my horse to the hotel room. Plus, also, Billy Ray Cyrus is in on that one too, right? So they're like, have this, you know this song? Tell me.
I think I've heard about it.
Okay.
Didn't we talk about it? How it's kind of like this weird country remix.
Yeah,
that's how I know about it. We talked about it on the podcast.
We must have talked about it. Okay, so anyway, Lil Nas X, there he is. First of all, he's getting all kinds of acclaim because he came out, so he's openly gay, black man in the country scene and the R&B. He's like a country
flipping scripts,
right? He's doing all the things, right? And apparently, a lot of people were really shocked about this, but he was like, "I'm not sure how you could be shocked about this." The cover of my album is filled with rainbows and like a lot of like gay culture iconography.
I mean, look at this photo. This is like the Village People right here.
Yeah, so he's like really going for it. I like that his response to this is like, duh.
Get it, girl. Yeah.
And so anyway, he's making more headlines today or this week because he broke one of the longest standing records in music history.
That is crazy.
So he spent 17 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And do you know, I think it says in the title here, but he displaced
Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day.
One Sweet Day with Boys to Men. Now that was my jam back in the day.
Was it?
I have a little bit of heartbreak over the fact that it had a record that has now been swiped out from underneath it. But I mean, I couldn't be happier that it's being done by Lil Nas X, because look at this guy. He is living his best damn life.
I know. I heard about Lil Nas X because he just kind of like gave himself this name, Lil Nas X, because he's a fan of Nas. Oh. And he didn't really think he'd actually get famous. He was like on YouTube. So he's like, I'm Lil Nas X, you know? And then he got famous. He's like, shit, I wish I didn't name myself Lil Nas X.
Oh, that's funny.
I read that about him.
I like that.
Now he's stuck with Nas because he can't change his name. And so now he's Lil Nas X.
And he's record holding.
Yeah, well, I mean, good for him. That just shows how white people, man, they like a country song rap.
They do like
sure
a bop.
Do.
Mm-hmm. And that is a bop. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, oh man, I loved One Sweet Day. That song was always playing in my headphones when I was like,
and I know you're shining down on me
like so. I loved that song so much. It was like, I remember I was on the Bettendorf High School soccer team. I was not on the varsity team. I was on the JV team because I wasn't that good.
You didn't even have to say that.
That's all right. I need to own the kind of athlete that I was then and the one that I am today. So anyway, we would always have to drive to play games or whatever, and we'd have to pile on the bus. And I remember I always had that song going in my head while I was like staring out the window, wishing that I was not going to run around on a soccer field for 60 minutes.
It was a good song.
It was a great song. It was a good jam. And it was great for like having a crush.
Really? Because it was about death.
It was?
Yeah.
Well, I liked it a lot. It made me think of like One Sweet Day of like being together with my crush.
That is not what that song's about. Oh, Heidi. Oh, you're so dark.
So dark.
So dark.
So dark. I'll tell you what's fucking dark. We're moving into the personal development segment of the show. Here is some dark shit that happened yesterday. It's not that dark. It's not that serious. You know, if it's coming from me, it's not that serious. Okay, I went and got my nails done yesterday. This lovely bright orange color, which I'm so happy about because I had been playing it safe with neutrals all summer long. And then finally I was like, I need to be orange.
Blam.
I don't know though. This is so good with my skin tone. I might just wear this color for year round.
I do like it.
I love it. Okay. So anyway, I
want to eat them though. They look like little candies.
I know that might be what inspired the Skittles today.
Yeah.
So I went to the nail salon, and sitting next to me were these two gals, and they were talking, like one of them was visiting from Colorado and one of them lived here, and they were obviously catching up like a lot. And in the middle of their catch up, I leaned over to them and I said, I apologize, like, for overhearing, but like, I mean, they were like, wow, and I was like, right next to them.
Like we do.
Yeah. And I was like, but you're reminding me so much of my friend Sandy. We have a podcast called All Gold Everything. I totally hope you listen to it. And we started podcasting because we used to go get our nails done together and just like, wow, talk about everything. And it's just like, it's really nice to be reminded of that. And they were like, oh yeah, of course we'll listen. Okay, whatever. Well, I hope they are listening, because the next thing that happened is the one girl from Colorado was talking about how she and this guy are on again, off again, and they have been on again, off again since high school. And they are in their 30s. 32 to be exact. That is like almost, I don't know, how many years is that? Not 16, 14 years? 14 years of on again, off again.
That's a long time.
It was, Sandy?
Tell me more. I want more details.
It was all I could do to not be like, if you are in an on again, off again for 14 years, it is fucking time to get off and be done. So this gal, I hope she's listening, but I don't want to be too mean. But I want
just
her
be
to
you. Just tell the truth. Heidi, just tell the truth.
The truth. The truth of it is, like, if she and this guy are going back and forth, and like he is like totally hot for her. Oh, I want to meet you. Oh, I'm going to come down from so and so, such and such place to meet you. And then she's like, oh, well, that's too bad because I have a boyfriend. But like, and he's like, oh, well, can we still hang out as friends?
And fuck.
Yeah. And then she told me that, or she told me, she told her friend. Then she told her friend that he went so far to say, and also could we be friends with benefits? And she was like, no, we can't because I have this boyfriend, but we can still be friends, which you know how I feel about that. And so she goes to meet him. And then of course, the day before she leaves to go meet this guy in Denver, she and her boyfriend break up. So then she's single, surprise, to go meet this guy who threw a wrench in her last relationship. So, like, whether or not he did it, he definitely did it on purpose. And whether or not she realized that he did that, she subconsciously, at the very least, broke up with this other guy so that she could go fuck this guy that she knew, that she's known since high school or whatever.
Well, good for her for breaking up with him.
I mean, at least she broke up with him.
Right.
And didn't cheat on him.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, then she goes...
Although I can't imagine the emotional turmoil this whole thing is causing just in these couple days.
I know. So then she goes to Denver to meet the guy, and they have like 4 or 5 days of like great fun, right? And they're all like on the rebound or whatever. And then he's coming to visit her wherever she lives at. They live in different cities in Colorado. He's coming to visit her, and even that morning of his visit, he's like, oh, I can't wait to see you. And then all of a sudden, and he's like, I'll be there at 3. And then at 4:00, she gets a text from him saying, oh, I'm not coming. Right. So now that she's available and they've had their little fling, he decides he's not showing up. And she's like, I mean, I don't know. He and I have such a long history, and I really don't want to ruin this friendship over this. And I am like, my God.
One, there's no friendship. And if you're convinced there's a friendship, cool, but it's okay to ruin it over this.
Yeah. Like, you are not anybody's plate. You can't,
empower yourself. Ruin this friendship over this.
Kiss this guy goodbye.
Yeah.
So she was like talking about how they were on again and off again. And then her other friend was like, oh, I know. I'm always on again, off again with this guy, and the timing's never right. And I just want to be like, do not waste any more of your damn time. That's your time. Don't let these fuckboys waste it. This is crazy to me.
What I'm hearing is there's probably a lot of lying to themselves going on. I feel like this just happens so much in these relationships with unavailable partners, right? There's so much lying to themselves. And so the one that is in Colorado in 2 different cities, she's probably has herself convinced that they are true loves and that they would be together
if they were
if they were in the same city.
Yes.
If he wasn't with somebody, if she wasn't with somebody. And so the story she's telling herself is keeping herself in this mix, but the problem is she really, really believes this story.
Yeah.
So what's it going to take for her to understand that this story is just something she's making up?
I know.
In her own mind.
It was crazy. It was clear to me that both of them were in the stories that they were telling themselves about, like, oh, the timing just has never been right with him. We're really good friends. We really care for each other deeply. The timing's never been right. And I'm like, I just was like, oh my God, I texted Sandy from the nail salon. Oh my God, we got to talk about this epidemic of on again, off again. So there's a couple things going on. One of them is the discussion of unavailability. The other thing is, like, I just wanted to make it really clear, like, I do not believe in on again, off again.
No.
Have you ever been in an on again, off again? Like even think back way back into your memory vault. I'm trying to think. I was on again, off again with a boyfriend that I had in high school when I was 18 and probably through my early 20s. And we were both in separate cities, but I think we were really just like, it was very convenient to like be on when we were back home in Bettendorf and then to be off when he was in Denver and I was in Pittsburgh and then to be on, you know, so it was like, and it was like, I got access to him. He got access to me. Like it was more like we weren't really like that. I don't think either of us were deluded that we were like truly in love. So I think that was like an on again, off again of convenience. But like I'm trying to think if I've ever been like, and some of this is because I don't know if I've ever been on again, off again with someone I deeply cared for because I just have never been willing to give anyone that second chance. Like I'm like, no, you fucked it. We're done. Yeah. You know?
No, I mean, I'm definitely like, I learned this term from Chelsea Handler, but I really relate to it. Like I end shit. Like I'm like scorched earth. When it's over, it's over. Yeah. Like I don't even keep contact. And that's, I think, why like, I'm not friends with any exes.
No.
And it's not even ones that there's relationships that ended without turmoil or strife and we're still not friends. Like you're not my friend.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, my thing about that is like, if we could be friends, then we'd still be together, you know, like, I am 1000%. I think this is like such a I think this is such a common cultural misconception, this like fake construct of like, oh, everyone should be friends with their exes. It means you're like not a bitch if you're friends with your exes. Like, you can not be friends with your exes and also not be a bitch. And it's important to have those boundaries.
Right. It's important to have those boundaries. Yeah. It's too messy. I mean, I know people who claim to be friends with their exes and they will shout from the mountaintops that it's healthy and it's fine. And again, I think that there's a lot of lies that they're telling themselves. Now, there's always the outlier. There's always going to be that really like actualized person who really actually can have a healthy relationship with an ex. But that's like 1 in 50.
Yeah, but then the other side of that is that the ex is probably not as actualized and is probably still in love with them.
Right. So I'm saying like it can happen, but for most of you, it is not you. Yeah. You are not that person. So quit lying. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth
and set yourself free.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so no, I'm like scorched earth. I have never, will never get back together with an ex. If it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know if that's like a flaw of mine or just
I don't know what to attribute it to either. I'm trying to think. I know in sobriety, I have not done on again, off again. And that's because I had a huge community of people like helping me through breakups to say like, hey, don't call that guy or, you know, whatever. And then I think pre-sobriety, I was married, you know, in the year between being divorced and getting sober, I was just dating and fucking people. So I wasn't actually involved with anyone in that year. And then I was married before that and that ended. And my ex-husband was like, can we still be friends? And I was like, absolutely not. And then, but prior to that, I did not have a lot of like dating experience of like serious boyfriends. And most of my teens and 20s was spent just kind of fucking around and dating people very casually. So I think part of the reason I don't have a lot of on again, off again is that I never really was willing to commit in the first place to get on even.
Yeah.
You know, in order to get off. But I just feel like I was just wanting to like shake both these girls. Like, your time is more valuable than this. And like one of them then told a story about having gone home at the holiday time and having hooked up with a boyfriend that she had in high school. And then she found out 3 months later, because small town, that her mom ran into his mom and he's engaged to be married, and then found out that they're already married like 2 months later. So she was like, he's lying to everyone. So she was like, well, I called his best friend and said, oh my God, did you know that he got married? And I just thought, oh my God, these people, they have no boundaries.
Yeah.
So you
guys, these days,
you gotta stop chasing down his best friend. That's another one that I feel like is so important. That I feel like when you are on again, off again with someone, you may as well just go straight back to off, right? Like don't waste, because it's just like, I just feel like don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You know? And then when you're off, like his friends are his friends. They are not your friends. So like, don't go chasing them down, asking them what they think, getting them to weigh in on it, asking their opinions and advice, because they're not your friends. They're his friends.
Right. Well, and I think for these women, even though they're physically on again, off again, in their minds during the off time, it's sort of like feeding the fantasy. Mm-hmm. So even though you're on and now you're off and I'm in another state, or for whatever reason we're not available to each other, I'm still feeding the fantasy. I'm still pining over you. I'm still checking your Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm still reinforcing this story that we would be together if. And then, so when we're together, then now I'm actually getting my little pleasure buttons pushed, and I'm getting the payoff for all that pining and suffering during the off time.
Yeah.
And so it really is a cycle of suffering. Mm-hmm. And until somebody can realize that they don't want to live that way anymore, and until somebody can realize that they're worth more, that they deserve more, and that they're willing to do the hard thing of saying no more, then it's just going to continue. And then they're going to get their little blow off steam at the nail salon with their friend. Yeah. And then until their friends start to grow and their friends start to say like,
hey, this is fucked up.
That's kind of fucked up. And then they don't like that. And then,
yeah. It's a place. It's like eventually you gotta want to get out of the pain cave. Yeah. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, but it sounds like they don't even realize they're in pain. And I think that happens, like, I really feel like with the millennials, that's going on a lot more. There's something that came into this hookup culture that also was like, men don't have to be accountable anymore. Like, you can hook up, you can be a fuckboy. Yeah. And that's just how it is.
Or whatever.
That is dating. Yeah. And that's like why Heidi and I, like, when we talk about dating, it's like, no. Like dating is, people still date. Yeah. Even millennials still date.
Yes, it's true.
So get this story out of there.
Yeah, that this is the only way. That everyone does this. This is how people date. No, like, people date like responsible adults.
Right. People do.
They do.
Millennials do. Young kids do. They do. The ones who have made a decision that they value themselves, they value their time, and they're not out to just, hook up and like, I don't know. I don't even understand what the motivation is behind the hookup culture.
Yeah, I don't either, really.
Other than just the pleasure of hooking up.
Yeah.
But that's never really done it for me, frankly.
It's so empty.
Yeah. I mean, I almost think that the texting after and the kind of connection after is almost as fun as the hookup itself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could enjoy the hookup if I didn't get all that play and flirtation after.
But there is something in the cycle of like, okay, the hookup comes after a bunch of flirtation and text, and then the hookup, and then for a lot of people, they get stuck in the cycle of like, oh, I haven't heard from them. Now I'm totally obsessed with them. When am I going to hear from them?
That was always painful.
Even though it's painful, it's like part of the chaos, right? It's part of the process, and it makes you feel busy, and it makes you feel important, and it makes you, it's like there's all this like other kind of stuff going on around like chasing someone who's unavailable, making yourself unavailable so someone will chase you. There's a lot of gaming. I think that hookup culture is mostly about the game,
right?
Of like the cat and mouse game. You know what I mean? But I agree
with
you.
Good times, kids. Good times.
I agree with you. That
sounds like fun.
That when you're ready to be out of the pain cave and you're ready to date, there are people who do still truly date, and that's really fun.
Right. And that's where it's at, because that's where what we want, like what love is two people who step outside of this milieu of chaos in this world that we live in and say, you're special to me. You're special to me. Yeah. That's what we want. Yeah. And that's what a date is. Yeah. A date is stepping outside of all of this and saying, you're special enough to me that I'm going to set my time aside for you, that I'm going to take you out, that I'm going to pay for your dinner. Even if I'm fucking poor, I'm going to pay for your dinner because you're special to me. Yeah. And that's what it is. And that's what feels good. And that's what love is. And so this other stuff, I don't see that happening there. I just see a lot of hurt feelings and, maybe.
Well, it's a lot of egos and a lot of the game, I guess.
Right.
What it made clear to me listening to these two gals was that so much of it was about the cat and mouse, like are we on, are we off? I want to be on when he wants to be off. He wants to be on when I want to be off. Like the chase was like a big part of it.
But she's probably making half of this shit up. He's just unavailable. To quote the old book, he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
If he was, he would be with you.
Yes. I mean, it was really hard not to lean over and just say like, that's not what's going on here. Like
Yeah.
if he was, it made me think of what we talked about last week, where it's like, if he's into you, you'll know.
Right.
If he's not into you, you'll be confused.
Yep.
I feel like we could nearly rename the podcast that, because
Right.
I just feel like so adamant. It's one of the greatest lines I have ever heard you say. It's so true. And it was really it was really challenging not to lean over and say that to her.
Right.
And the thing that I think was painful for me about watching that was like just seeing, you know, the delusion that we have as young women around like being sexually empowered and like what that means and how that should make us feel is confusing, because it doesn't always make us feel the way we think it's going to make us feel.
Well, because we're not really sexually empowered.
Right.
Because we don't really know what it means to be sexually empowered until we're like in our fucking 40s.
Yes, that's right. The cultural construct of sexual
Right.
empowerment via Sex in the City says like sleep around and fuck everyone. Whatever. It's fine. I like Sex in the City. It was a great show when it was on. It was whatever. But it never actually left me feeling empowered when I was that way.
Right.
And then I was confused
And
because
that
I
is
was
a
like,
sentiment I've heard from a lot of young women.
Yes.
A lot of these young millennials
Right.
Have had the exact same feeling.
right. And then I'm confused. Why don't I feel empowered? All of culture says if I fuck around and like do what I want and fuck who I want, I'm going to feel empowered, but I don't. And now I don't know what to do. And these two gals really had that sentiment for me when I heard them talking about it yesterday, because they were struggling. I could hear even in the way they were talking about it that they felt like they were empowered. They felt like they should feel empowered, but they didn't feel empowered. They felt confused.
Right.
You know?
And
So,
it's painful and it's
Yeah.
suffering to be in that type of interaction.
yeah.
It just is.
So our advice is, if you are on an on again, off again, walk away from the on again, off again, and just be off.
Just be off.
Yeah. And see if you can step outside the hookup culture and get ready to value your time and yourself in a way that allows you to date in a meaningful and intimate way, where you develop some relationships with someone. They're out there.
They are.
They are out there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add to this topic? Are you ready to
No,
wrap it up?
I just think that, you know, I think so many women just need to really take some time to date themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that we give a lot of really important dating advice that's based on our own experience and our own learning and our own growth and
Yeah.
experience. But we kind of breeze over the really important part of what we went through and to get to that place where we love ourselves, and really to get to that place where, for me, it was, I knew that like my life was so full that I finally got to the place where I was no longer afraid of being alone the rest of my life, where when I thought about being alone the rest of my life, that was okay. I
Yeah.
knew my life could be big and full. And the only downside of me being alone the rest of my life was that I'm going to have to deal with occasional feelings of loneliness,
Right.
but I have tools and coping skills to deal with that. Like I was, and to do the work, to get to that point where we are actually there is the most empowering thing that a person can do. And I don't think I could get to the place where I could go out into the dating world and value myself in the way that I needed to value myself without having done that work.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And it's so hard. It's so hard because if we're willing to admit that at the end of the day, we're just scared of being alone, of getting old alone.
yeah.
It's like, that's the first step.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And like filling that fear with like hookup culture will not fix it.
No,
is the problem.
it feeds that fear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because every time you don't get the call back, every time the unavailable interaction fizzles, that fear just gets heightened. Like, oh, this is more proof. This is more evidence. I'm going to be alone forever.
So you're right. Like acknowledging that's the real fear is the first step, and then moving into embrace it and learn how to be yourself and love yourself and be alone for a while by yourself. That I had to do that for a long time, frankly, until I was ready to value myself.
Yeah, and then you'll fall in love, and then you'll get married, and then you'll be like, God, why can't I just be by myself? God damn it.
I love it. I love you.
JK lols.
What a show. What a show. We are wrapping it up here in Portland. We're sending lots of love, light, and gold your way. Don't you forget to
Stay vigilant.
What miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold